Hey everyone, and welcome to Valley Sports Fanatics with your host Kenny. It's good to be with you, and thanks so much for dropping by. You may be watching this video hopefully before Game 1 tips off, Suns versus Lakers, but I may have not released a video quick enough, so you may be watching it afterwards. But nonetheless, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Suns before they kick off round 1 against the Lakers. Big matchup. I know a lot of people are excited about it. And talk about the series and give you my opinions, my thoughts about it. And obviously, given the name of my channel, Valley Sports, I'm from the Valley, baby, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. Grew up playing a lot of different sports, went to a Big 5A high school, and ultimately went the direction of playing professional futsal. For those of you who don't know, that's indoor soccer all around Asia and Latin America. And I've been around a lot of professional athletes because when you play at a high level like that, you come into contact with many different professional athletes in many different sports. But nonetheless, not to toot my own horn here, but I am from Arizona. I am from Phoenix. I'm huge Suns fans and huge Cardinal fans. And I love the two sports very, very much. And I have a lot of different channels here on YouTube, but I finally decided to make this channel and talk more about the sports. And to be honest with you, I've kind of been drug out of the woodwork here. And I think for so long for the Suns, not really being relevant in the NBA for the past 11 years, I don't really have much motivation to talk about the Suns in general, other than, a few Facebook groups that I'm involved with, and I leave a few comments here and there over the years. But we made it. We made it. We finally made it. We finally have, gained a little bit of respect. I don't think there's enough respect out there, especially from the experts. But nonetheless, we've earned our spot, and we're in the playoffs. 11 years, long time coming. The last time the Suns made it, like a lot of us know, especially if you're a Suns fan, was the 2009-2010 season. I was back in the States at that time. I was in my 20s. Life was good. And it's taken another 11 years. So here we are. And I wanted to talk about the Suns a little bit, and if you're jumping into this video and you're not a Suns fan, but maybe you came on here to listen about my thoughts of the Suns Lakers series, but I feel like I gotta put some respect on the Suns name. I gotta give them some justification, and of course, as I said, I'm a Suns fan, right? So of course, I'm gonna be like, yo, you gotta give us respect. But anytime I make a video on this channel, I'm always gonna try to be as transparent as I possibly can. But like I said, I have to be honest. I feel like the Suns have, I don't want to use the word disrespected, because I think there's a lot of shock and awe. I think non-Suns fans, whether you're a casual NBA fan or a casual fan of whatever team that you follow, or you're a fanatic of whatever team you follow, but if you're not like in tune with the Phoenix Suns, you're probably shocked. You're probably like, really? The Suns were this good? And I think as the season went on, when we got up to, 80% of the season completed, was when people are like, well, I guess the Suns are good. But I feel like the general message is still like, yeah, they're good, but they're not going to go far in the playoffs. And that rubs me the wrong way. And the reason why it rubs me the wrong way is because I feel like the Suns earned their record this year. Now, the biggest argument, or really in my mind, the only argument anybody could make, is the Suns wouldn't have the second best record in the league if the Lakers and the Nets weren't banged up. Because you can't say anything about Utah. I mean, the Utah Jazz have one game better than us, right? They got the best record in the league, one game. So you can't say Utah. You can't really say anyone else in the West because we beat them all. Other than I believe Denver. We went 1-2 against Denver, and the two losses were overtime losses. Could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. But when you look at the Jazz, we swept the Jazz this year. So what other team out there could have been better than us, other than the Lakers and the Nets being banged up? So if you look at it, the Suns would have at least got you got to say at least top 4 in the league. And we've seen teams that are top 6, top 7 in the league, not the conference, but the league, win NBA titles, or at least made the finals. So Why is it such a far-fetched idea that the Phoenix Suns are the second best team in the league? It doesn't really matter about the health of the Lakers or the Nets because we still would have been top 3, top 4. And so there's that. And I believe that just like as a whole, the team and how they've performed and how they've stepped up to the challenge, how they carried their momentum from the bubble going 8-0. And they were a good team, towards the end of the season, going into the bubble and then out of the bubble, they were already a good team. So I don't know why it's so surprising when you add a piece like CP3 and it gets elevated massively. But, they shocked everybody in the bubble, right? I think it was like one game or a half a game from not making the play-in games. And who knows what would have happened if the Nets would have won that game against Portland, right? If Portland lost that game, the Suns would have made it into the play-in and Brooklyn almost pulled it off. So we don't really know, right? Other than here we are today and the Suns went 51-21. And when you look at how they played the East Coast, other than the Nets, like they took care of the East, especially the top teams, Sixers, Boston, you name it. Other than Nets, we took care of the East. And in the West, we did pretty damn good. So I feel like the general message being sent out that it was a good season, but they can't get past the Lakers. Now this will segue me into the conversation with this series, right? Where a lot of people probably came onto this video to listen to my thoughts about this series. Look, man, I think 95, at least for me, at least 95% of the people that I've listened to talking about this series, they got Lakers. Lakers in 5, Lakers in 6. A few people I saw said Lakers in 7. Look, man, the Suns can win this series. Not only they can win this series, like as in can they, but I feel like they will. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. First thing, which a lot of people are talking about is the health of AD and LeBron. I'm going to come out of the gate and say this. First and foremost, look, LeBron, hate him or love him, I have my opinions of him. I know if there's any Laker fans listening to this, they probably don't like this, but my opinion of him and his theatrics just does my head in. When you're 6'8", 6'9", whatever the hell he is, 215, 220, like, why are you being theatrical? I never understood that. When you have like smaller players in the league who are not nearly as theatrical. But I'll leave that for a different video. Now, but as a basketball player and what he's done for the sport, he'll go down as one of the best players of all time. Along Kobe, and Jordan, Wilt, all those guys. AD will probably, when it's said and done, will be a Hall of Famer. Okay? And so you got two beasts in there. And they're tough to deal with. There's no doubt about it that on paper, it doesn't bother me that people pick the Lakers. It doesn't bother me at all because it makes sense. But let's be realistic here. I believe AD's fragile. I feel like he comes down the wrong way. He twists the wrong way. That's it. And LeBron, I think he's even in a worse situation than what AD is, and that's basically just because that's the way he plays, right? He has these explosive moments. He's not as explosive as he used to be, but he has those moments. And a lot of his injuries are because he comes down wrong, steps on a guy's foot, twists his ankle, and shit like that. So I think he's even a worse situation than what AD is. So because those two factors right there, an all-time great and a future Hall of Famer, potentially not making it through this series. Okay? We have to keep that in consideration. Now, let's play devil's advocate and say LeBron and AD do make it through the series. At least 4 games. They gotta play at least 4 games. Right? Because they gotta win 4 out of 7. So if they play 4 games, I'm gonna tell you this right now. The Suns are gonna come out aggressive. This is my intuition speaking here. And I'll tell you why I believe that. And I think Monty's smart, man. I think that he's the coach of the year. I think he'll get it. I mean, it's not official yet, but I think he'll get it. He's the coach of the year for a reason. They played the Lakers 3 times. They played them with LeBron, beat them. Without LeBron and AD and beat them. And then they played them without LeBron but with AD and lost. Okay, and AD had a monster game. Fair enough. Fair play to him. Played great. Lakers deserved the victory. But Monty has seen them 3 times now. Not with AD and LeBron on the court at the same time, but he ain't dumb, man. He knows what he has to put together. He's got a sidekick named Chris Paul who knows LeBron, who's played alongside LeBron. I believe in the Olympics and things like that. I mean, so they're going to formulate a plan, and they know that they can't play half-court basketball for 4 games against the Lakers. The Lakers' defense is just too good. They're too big. They're too long. They rebound the hell out of the basketball. They get their hands everywhere, and they're good at getting steals, getting blocks, getting rebounds, and going on a fast break and getting in transition quickly. So Monty knows this. And now Chris Paul likes to play half-court basketball because he likes to set up his offense and move the ball and find his spots. But I think that a new approach is coming. Now, it's not going to be like the Nash days where they're like constantly running and throwing alley-oops to Sean Marion and Stoudemire. But I believe it's going to be – I think they're going to get in transition quickly. They're not going to allow the Lakers to set up their defense. Now, if Drummond's on the floor – He's like a brick. He ain't moving. So if you get out quick, he ain't going to get back in time enough. He's not going to outpace Ayton. That's for damn sure. And I don't really see him outpacing Saric or Kaminsky either. Now, if he's sitting down low in a half-court defense setting, he's a problem because he just beats people up. He gets rebounds and whatever have you. And even on offensive, he can put up offensive, putbacks and shit like that. But my point is that if you move, LeBron doesn't want to run all game. I don't think AD wants to run all game. You got a young, enthusiastic Suns team other than CP3, but CP3 doesn't need to run. He just gets the ball out. You got Cam Payne coming off the bench who will run, who will drive the basketball, who will try to make it problematic. As a matter of fact, in transition or even passing the ball in after a made shot, Cameron Payne moves the ball very quickly, much more quicker than CP3. So I feel like you got Mikal Bridges, you got Cam Johnson, you got these young guys. Torrey Craig, he likes to run, move. Crowder is not the quickest guy, but he's also a very good passer and can find movement quickly. So I feel like the Suns are going to come out and they're going to try and make the Lakers defense uncomfortable, because if you make the Lakers defense uncomfortable, then the Lakers have to outscore you, right? It becomes an offensive game. And the Suns' offense is better than the Lakers' offense, in my opinion. And statistically, they are better. Now, of course, that doesn't, LeBron wasn't always there, AD wasn't always there, but I feel like the Suns have a lot of weapons offensively. Now, my last little few notes here about this series. The key factor, the X factor in this series, in my opinion, is Ayton. Okay? And I don't think Ayton, he doesn't need to average 15 to 20 points. They don't need to do that, because Booker, I think he's going to go crazy this series. I think he's going to go crazy. I think he's going to get 22 to 26 points a game, easy. I mean, that's being generous. I think CP3 is going to average 12 to 15 assists a game. Mikal Mikal Bridges only needs 2 games out of this series where he scores over 20, and that's gonna be problematic for the Lakers. And then the Suns are deep. They're one of the deepest teams in the NBA. They've got a lot of talent coming off the bench at any given moment who can come off the bench and make shots. You wouldn't know that unless you're a Suns fan and you watched every game this season. But if you're a Lakers fan, you better watch out with as far as our depth is concerned and the weapons that we can bring off the bench. Now, Ayton only needs to get, if he can get 12 rebounds, if he can average 12 rebounds a game, 5 or 6 of those being offensive boards, get a block or 2, and get 12 points, we'll beat the Lakers. Because Booker's going to get his, and I feel like the victories are going to come down to 4 or 5 rebounds, 4 or 5, offensive rebound putbacks and things like that. You don't grab rebounds against the Lakers. You give the Lakers a second chance, they're going to make you pay. So if Ayton does his job, Kaminsky, Saric rotates through. They might bring Sticks in. We don't know. We'll have to see. But if they have that good rotation, give Ayton his breaks, and if Ayton stays out of foul trouble, which he had a hard time doing the last time they played the Lakers, then the Suns will win this series because Booker's going to get his. Chris is going to do his thing. Bridges is going to have at least 2, maybe 3 phenomenal games. Cam Payne is going to get you at least 1 game where he's going to ball out, possibly 2. Crowder is going to have 1 to 2 remarkable games. And you're going to get a game where Torrey Craig comes in as just a monster and just making everything problematic. So Ayton is the X factor. Ayton plays the way I just said he needs to play. The Suns are going to win this series, and I've already came out and said it. The Suns are going to win in 6. I think game 1, and of course, we're about, 10 hours away from tip-off or so. But I'm going to call it just in case those people who will watch this video before the tip-off, but I feel like the Suns are going to win tonight or this afternoon. I just feel like they're well-rested. They're energetic. They're motivated. The arena's packed. I think the Lakers are a bit lackadaisical for game 1, going to, put out feelers, try a few things. They'll take an L game 1. They ain't worried about that. Do they want to win? Of course, but it's not the end of the world if they lose. Especially like a veteran like LeBron. He's been down big in series before, and he's come back. He knows how to pace himself. But it is a statement win. I don't think LeBron and the Lakers need to worry if they lose game 1 in the sense that, oh, shit, we're down 1-0. But they need to worry about the Suns' momentum. If the Suns win game 1, their confidence is through the roof. It's going to be very difficult for the Lakers to overcome that confidence when you have a young, confident team with very good coaching. So that's my opinion, man. I got Suns in game 6. I do believe that, as I said, the Suns will win game 1. I think the Lakers will grab game 2, though. I think they'll make adjustments and grab game 2. But I won't talk about any further games or predictions yet. But I will be back on here to talk about game 1, the post-game thoughts. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. And please subscribe, like, all that good stuff, man. And it's good to get on here and vent a little bit, man. I'm so happy to be back. 11 years, long time coming. Go Suns. Let's do this, man. I think this might be our year. Maybe not to win a championship, but to really, really, really make some noise. And part of that noise is beating the Lakers, baby. Let's do it. Go Suns. Like, subscribe. Even if you're not a Suns fan, hopefully you like my transparency, and we can chop it up on here and talk some basketball, man. So yeah, I'll check you guys on the other side. Peace.